Hold on to your wallets, people, because Finance Minister Bill Morneau has just announced that he is willing to hand over taxpayer money to Kinder Morgan to offset financial losses caused by his government. Finance Minister Bill Morneau has just announced that the federal government is willing to directly compensate Kinder Morgan's investors for any financial losses due to British Columbia's lawfare and obstructionism directed at the company's Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion project. Now, Morneau said, and I quote, "The indemnification would allow Kinder Morgan to finish what they started, what they received federal and BC approval to do." Morneau also said, "As a government, we need to ensure that the rule of law is respected and that investors have the certainty needed to complete the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion project because it's in the national interest to do so." Morneau would not indicate if there were some sort of cap on how much of our money the government was willing to just hand over to Kinder Morgan investors. And Morneau also said that if Kinder Morgan does walk away from the Trans Mountain Pipeline, that the Canadian government would then offer financial compensation to any other company that could potentially take the pipeline over. The Liberals' solution to allowing a shanty town of violent hippies and an unelected NDP premier in BC to hold the entire economy hostage is to just throw money in all directions and hope some unfortunate company stops to pick it up. Then Morneau went on to brag that there are plenty of other investors out there willing to pick up the pieces of Trans Mountain if Kinder Morgan does announce that they will walk away from their pipeline at their self-imposed May 31st deadline, just 2 short weeks away. Lots of other companies really are willing to get involved. Really, Bill? Why didn't Morneau name one? Why aren't these companies naming themselves? What other company would bother getting involved in what should be the simplest of energy infrastructure projects? The Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion is a simple twinning of a project that has operated for nearly 7 decades without any sort of problem in the existing pipeline easement. It's laughable that Morneau would suggest, after TransCanada gave up on Energy East and after Northern Gateway was cancelled, that any self-respecting pipeline would be lining up to do business in Canada, especially if they have to do that business with the Liberal Party of Canada and Rachel Notley as their business partners. And meanwhile, in Trump's America, both our largest oil customer and newest competitor, they're drilling so much that they can't build pipelines out of the Permian Basin fast enough, but at least they are building them. What a difference a pro-business administration makes. Now, why are Canadian taxpayers, the majority of which are pro-pipeline, on the hook for the actions of British Columbia's government and the Liberals in action? Why aren't the Liberals making BC be financially accountable for their actions? Where are the consequences for British Columbia? Why are we paying for BC's bad acts? Why do we even have a federal government if not to resolve issues between provinces using the rules we have already laid out for them? I'm getting really tired of not only not having energy infrastructure, but I'm also getting really tired of the prospect of having to pay companies because we don't allow energy infrastructure to go ahead. In reality, we won't really be paying to reimburse companies for their projects being indefinitely delayed. We're actually going to be paying so that Trudeau never has to accept the political fallout of being the party of no. Trudeau, by throwing our cash at the problems he's making, gets to be the leader of the party of, oh well, we tried, but the mean and greedy capitalist companies pulled out anyway, while simultaneously allowing obstructionism to choke out our industry, which is really what Trudeau wants. You don't stack your team with activists like Gerald Butts and Zoe Karen if you want to get pipelines built. You just don't do it. If you want pipelines built, you marginalize anti-oil activists as unreasonable and anti-Canadian. You don't hire them and legitimize their ideas using the full force of the federal government. Canada, we aren't even a real country anymore. We're just a collection of Baltic states and the colony of Alberta with some centralized taxation in Ottawa. 150 years and Trudeau has broken the economic union that held us together for so long. And anyone cheering for the government being involved in this project and taking it over is cheering to give Trudeau the noose by which to strangle us all. Remember what happened last time a Trudeau with a visceral dislike for Alberta took over our oil industry? Yeah, me too. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. So what you just saw right there was my daily video that I do here at The Rebel, but I also do a weekly full-length show. It's, of course, called The Gun Show, and we talk about issues facing the Canadian economy and Canadian families. But to get access to my show and the rest of our incredible premium content, treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.